I was talking to holistic. She's pretty holistic. She's onto like all that organic stuff, and she was saying that the coronavirus is just mucus in our system.
It's what?
Mucus, like it's just mucus in your system. Look, Bernard's dying.
Oh man!
look at Clark. Look at Clark. Look at Clark.
Don't bring me up in this. No,
But like, hey, what do y'all do for a living? Let me ask you what y'all do for a living.
I go to school and I work, so that's what I do for a living right
All right,
now.
what are you studying?
Business and marketing.
Business and marketing. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Lisa?
Me? Wait, what?
Like,
What do you do? What do we do for,
like, what's your expertise? What's your area of expertise?
Oh, I was a paralegal for 7 years, and I'm a professional stylist.
Got you. All right. What about you, Clark?
Me, I went to school for automotive technology, really mechanic, but I'm more of the engineering side behind the cars.
All right, cool. So let me ask you a question. Like, so Clark, you know cars, right? Right. So if I came at you and I was like, yo, like the reason why your car is not working is because your starter is broke, right? And somebody came up to you and like try to explain that shit to you, right? You be looking at them and you know it's something totally different. Like it's a dead battery, right? And like, yeah, because when the car go click, 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 I knew the starter broke. Like, what? That shit don't even make no sense, dog. Like, what are you saying? So it's like somebody explaining to you an area that you understand, and you like it's clear they don't have an understanding. Like, what are you saying right now, right? So when somebody says they have mucus, I'm like, all right, what? Okay. I'm like, what? What kind of elementary level understanding are we talking about right now? Right? So that's so simplistic. It's like I can't even like process that. And so the answer is yes. Okay. Anytime somebody gets sick, they produce more mucus. Okay. All right. Duh. Okay. Right. And so the coronavirus, right, causes COVID-19 disease, right? And when the virus infects the cells, there's an inflammatory reaction to it caused by the immune cells. So you have the cells that come in and try to control and contain the virus. And in the process of coming to control and contain the virus, you have the release of cytokines and all kinds of other inflammatory factors that increase secretion, okay? But in addition to increasing secretion inside of these little air sacs, the alveoli, you have dead cells that end up in there and just debris, right? And that increases mucus, or more specifically pneumonia, just a concoction of different things from the inflammatory response that's in your lungs. And so that's what's going on. So I don't know what she's talking about. Yes, okay, but what? It's just
maybe
mucus?
This is really ignorant to even ask, and you're probably gonna roast me after this too, but that's okay. If they have, okay, so what? I've had walking pneumonia, right? But I've never had actual pneumonia. So if I got walking pneumonia, would I be more susceptible or than regular pneumonia or not?
All right, so like that's another one, right? Like so, walking pneumonia. All that means is that like you have like you meet the definition of pneumonia, but it didn't knock you out, right? But usually when people get pneumonia, they can't fucking get out of bed, right? That's all it means. That means that you got a relatively mild form of pneumonia and you're young and healthy. That's all it means. Because some other person could have got that same pneumonia that you had, that you were walking with, and been short of breath and bedbound.
Right.
It's all about your capacity, your lung capacity. So there's certain organisms like mycoplasm or well, I can't think of it. Yeah, mycoplasm probably the main one. Maybe, yeah. There's some other like mild pneumonias with that cause atypical pneumonias that can cause mild pneumonia, and there's viral pneumonias as well. So some viruses can cause pneumonia, and all pneumonia means is that it's causing an inflammation in your lungs, right? And as a result of that inflammation, it's causing either damage or inflammation around your ear sacs. So that's what a pneumonia is, right? And so you have pneumonia that could fill your lungs up with a bunch of fluid and impair oxygen exchange to a level where you need oxygen or you need a tube. Or you have a mild pneumonia, which causes a little inflammation and only mildly impairs oxygen exchange, and over time it clears, right? And so there's levels to this, right? And so basically, in terms of like pneumonia, it's more of a disease process than the organism, because a bunch of like viruses and bacteria and other organisms can cause pneumonia, and that's just saying it causes damage to your lungs, essentially.
Okay. I was just wondering.
So when this woman is like saying, hey, the COVID-19 is not a virus, it's just mucus. Like, come on, yo, just like, I can't even talk to you, yo. Like that means like you have a very rudimentary understanding of the disease process. So yes, it's mucus, but it's a virus that's going inside of cells that your immune system is trying to fight off, that's causing secretions and inflammation inside of your lungs and causing a pneumonia, which a part of that, it increases secretion of fluids and mucus. It is what it is. Okay, so your holistic friend, I'm sorry, is just not either they were trying to simplify it for you, or they have no idea of the process. It just doesn't make any sense.
What about Dr. Sebi? Do you believe anything he does, anything like that?
I don't
No?
think he tried it. No, yeah. So many people believe Dr. Sebi, man. It's crazy, yo. But
the same girl I'm talking about went to him when she had problems, and that's where she adapted most of her stuff.
So let me ask you a question. Didn't Dr. Sebi say he can cure AIDS, right?
AIDS.
Well,
yeah.
he's yeah.
Okay, did he say that or not? Yes or no?
From my understanding, he said not. I don't know if he said he could cure it. He just says he just used organic properties like plants and stuff like that to.
He said he got rid of it, and he had documents. Went to the Supreme Court.
It was either one of those. I didn't even research him well enough to even discuss.
So there you go, right? So Clark says that he could cure HIV, and they tried to like throw him in jail for it, and he had a document to prove it, right? Like, but he had the cure, and right?
Yeah.
Well, none of us
I know
saw the
somebody
cure.
else, but I'm not going to get into that though. I can't.
Right. So like let's just look at the logic of all of this, right? So let's assume that he had the cure. How come we don't have the cure?
But that's
supposedly.
Well, as far as
the government said so.
Okay, so the pharmaceutical companies won't make money
with everybody. Like, why is that some big secret? Like, why could he have not written it down, put it on a video, and made that shit go viral, or gave it to someone?
But did we have internet then?
Or just get 30 people and say, hey, this is the cure for HIV. Go out and share it with the world. How come you couldn't do that?
Because he's not a doctor. He wasn't on paper a doctor.
You understand the fallacy of this logic? You understand? You understand like there's no argument to that?
On paper, he wasn't a doctor, but
it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Yeah. If he said, yo, you take this bean right here, and then you take this rock, and then you ground it up in this turkey berry juice, right? Like he could, like, why couldn't he tell somebody that? Why not?
I know somebody else who has it.
Only Dr. Sebi could do it?
Not only him.
What kind of healer is the only person that could heal? Like, that shit doesn't make any fucking sense, dog. Like
Clark.
Huh?
No, I actually know I know somebody else. I already know somebody else
who could cure HIV? You know people that could cure HIV?
No, well, I'm not even gonna get into that. I'm not gonna get into that. But no, I do.
Like, dog, that's so.
The person that I know got approval to go to the CDC.
Oh God! All right.
And she went.
So can you cure HIV or not? Like HIV is killing the black community at a clip that's never been seen before. We're dying right now. Like where are they right now? Where's your person at?
But they're different strains. They're different strains though.
But
that are manipulated.
I can't even entertain it.
But the thing is, somebody who actually runs this is in Philly too. Somebody that I know, their father that runs an HIV clinic up there, and he was telling me, he was asking me, what's the number one way you can get HIV? And I'm like, oh, it's sex. Oh, it's this. He's like, nah. He said it's from getting your hair cut. When people don't, use barbicide, they don't go to sterilize their stuff.
All right.
Which is crazy.
Listen,
which sounds crazy.
I've had family members pass away from AIDS, so there is no way I'm allowing a haircut to be the definition.
Hey, Clark, I'm telling you, what literally done. Like, you're talking to me, dog. Like, this is what I do, right?
Okay.
All right? Like, there's so many things wrong with what you just said. I can't even have a discussion with you. Understand? And so you're saying that it's easier to get HIV from getting a haircut with clippers, right? Like a barber cut a nigga with AIDS, right? And then come and cut your hair. You're saying the transmission from that is the greatest.
No.
Wait, no,
but how not? How not?
He just said.
But how not though?
Okay. So you think that's more efficient than if a nigga with AIDS is injecting heroin and says, hey, like use my needle? Don't you think that is more efficient than cutting somebody's hair?
But this is like how I had a conversation with somebody who.
Hey, no.
I said,
you said. No, I asked you a question. Just answer my question, dog. Just answer my question. Yo, do you think if an IV drug user who has AIDS injects some heroin and takes the needle out of his arm with blood on it and gives it to somebody else and they inject it, right? You think that way is less infectious or efficient than going to the barber?
But how many people do heroin compared to people who get haircuts?
Listen. I cut hair.
Mm-hmm.
The sanitation that goes behind it, you would have to really fuck someone up. You change razors after every beard shave. You clean your clippers after. You want to see the product? Look here.
No, I understand. I know where to use barbicide and so forth.
We clean shit.
Yeah, use that. I know what that is.
But I have family members who have died from AIDS, from having it for years, from just having sex, from being back in the AIDS era.
Yeah.
So compare that to getting a haircut. That's just not even feasible, bro. Like, not even close. It just can't happen. Like, it happens, but I feel like the percentage of that happening from a haircut versus just sipping off of somebody's straw is like two different worlds. Like, we sanitize all the time. So me as a stylist, I gotta say nah, and me as family members that have passed away from that specifically, and I'm not talking about just 2 or 3 or 4, I'm talking about like at least 10 family members from back in that era. It was definitely not from no motherfucking haircut, because women do not get that from a haircut. We do not get any blood transfer. We're color, we're ammonia, we're haircuts, we're blow dries, we're heat. There's nowhere near that. So yeah,
the majority
for men maybe, but for women absolutely not.
And what she's saying is backed up by the data, yo. So there's no epidemiological data to back up your point. Like there's like we study this shit. We look and see like where do the infections come from, right? And we're not saying, oh, everybody that goes to this barber is getting AIDS. Like that's not even coming up. It's possible.
No, I'm not saying everybody.
But what I'm saying is what we have seen is that anybody that went to this crack house and was with that crackhead got AIDS, right? Like where we can figure out those transmissions from patient 0 that came in the crackhead that had the AIDS that shared a needle with somebody else, and so we tracked that. We tracked it to male on male sex, like gay sex, anal sex in particular. Very high transmission rate relatively, and that's why in communities that don't use protection, that have a high amount of that particular type of intercourse, are more likely to have high transmission rates. So that's why Atlanta in particular has very, very high transmission rates of HIV. And then if a male has that same kind of intercourse, anal intercourse with a woman, sorry to be so graphic, guys, but it's more efficiently transmitted than vaginal intercourse, basically. And it's because of the nature of the transmission. And so, yes, to your point, it's possible to transmit HIV via haircut.
Yeah.
It's possible, but it's incredibly inefficient, right? It might not even be possible, but it like for argument's sake, let's say that the clippers cut somebody, you're bleeding a lot, and then you cut somebody else and they're bleeding a lot, it's, I guess, technically feasible. But it's just not, somebody made that up.
I feel like you would have to cut that secondary person.
So your friend immediately got discredited by me, by you, and you propagated misinformation. So I want you to go back and investigate that particular comment and realize why that is so misinformed. Because that way, like, people are not getting HIV from haircuts. It's just not a thing, right? Okay. I'm concerned about that, because you think about it, like, you don't clean your clippers in certain neighborhoods, but it's just not backed up by the information. And you could always say the information is skewed, but based on the mechanism and how it works, I just don't see how that works either, because I know how HIV is transmitted, and it's the type of fluids that's contained in, and like its survival rate outside of the body, and cutting hair just doesn't seem like an efficient way of spreading it. There's a reason why it's a sexual transmitted disease, right? It's not a respiratory disease. It's not that kind of disease, right? Like, it's an STD, okay? It is what it is, right? And so in addition to being transmitted sexually, it's transmitted to IV drug users as well. And so HIV and Hep C, there's a lot of co-transmission with those two, because Hep C is most efficiently transmitted from blood to blood. And so people that got blood transfusion back in the day, but even like dentists were transmitting it for a while because their equipment was dirty. So to your point, it's possible, but you're always having bleeding in the gum, you're digging up in the gums, and so but the epidemiological data caught a lot of these doctors who were transmitting HIV because you know, they saw that there was a breakout in a particular area, and they traced it back to that doctor. So all I'm saying is that's plausible, but it's not backed up by any objective information. That's all I'm saying.
I hope we're not making you go crazy.
No, but what you realize is that a lot of people believe things, and you don't even realize it, dog. And even me, like, we all have our blind spots. And so when you get new information, you change your opinion based on that, right? And I think a lot of times, even on social media, you're exposed to information that's not in your area of expertise. So if somebody told me some shit about your area of expertise, I'm more prone to believing it because I just don't know a whole lot about it, right?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So if you don't understand it, you're more prone to it.
Yeah, exactly. Or I'm making an association, and I'll say, like, oh, every time I see this, that's the case. But if you deal with something more every day, all day, you're gonna have a different perspective on it. And this is a long conversation, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't expecting it to get this long, but hey, things happen, I guess. We only got 5 more minutes left anyway. I wanted to ask you, why is Donald Trump, when he does speeches, why he's never wearing a mask?
Yeah, Donald Trump is like, objectively doing poorly as a president right now, objectively, right? And so the way he's handled the entire pandemic has been completely inept, and it's really setting our country back. And it's like, we have to understand how bad he's handling it to really move forward as a country. And I think most people don't really understand how bad he's doing. And the fact that he's even a contender for the election this year is mind-boggling to me, because the WHO notified everybody in like the latest January 30th, right? And the fact that he only stopped travel from China, and that's all that he really did. He didn't mobilize anything. He didn't like get us enough testing. He didn't do contact tracing. He didn't like mobilize the hospital. Like, he didn't do anything. And he actually had a reactionary approach to it. Shows his level of incompetence. So if you look at other leaders in like countries like New Zealand or Australia or Germany or South Korea, they just approach this very differently, and their economies didn't get hit as hard because of it. And so Germany was able to shut down aggressively and then reopen aggressively, and they're in a much better position than we are. They're still dealing with their issues, and mind you, they're in Europe, and there's a lot of different countries that did poorly. Like Italy did poorly, France did poorly, Spain did poorly, and they're all relatively close. The UK did poorly, and so you have to contend with people with contiguous borders or in your locale who did poorly, affecting you. And then the Americas in general did poorly with it. So America did the worst with it, right? We have the most deaths, the most infections. But the entire Americas, we're the primary spreader of the COVID-19 pandemic now, or propagators of the pandemic, or spreaders of the virus, which is crazy. So we failed. And Donald Trump in particular failed as a president, because if we had a different president, they would have made a different decision, and they would have approached it very differently than he did. And now we're paying for it economically in every possible way. Like the amount of people that died was a direct reflection of his decision. So the fact that we passed the 80,000 mark and we're still in friggin' May is ridiculous, because the initial projections that got everybody alarmed had 84,000 people dying in August. We've already passed that.
You know, the crazy thing is, if you was to tell, like, say that to him, he will backtrack and blame Obama's term for all this.
No, there's literally no argument. Like, objectively, you can look at and see how other leaders made this and how he did it. And like, if you look at the UK, you look at Brazil, you look at the USA, we were very incompetent in our approach, and you see the repercussions, and it's all based on you can look at the infection rate, the mortality rate, the economic fallout, like everything that we care about objectively, we did poorly on, and we're still doing poorly. And so you can't forgive that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, it was your responsibility and you failed. The president of New Zealand did a better job than you.
Shots taken. I like a lot. I learned a lot of stuff from you today, bro. Like some stuff I didn't know. Yeah. So and hopefully the viewers can learn a couple things too.
Hey, follow me on social media, @ashbymd, on Instagram, b.ashbymd, my last name. And I'm down on all platforms. So on Instagram, I give a lot of updates. So definitely follow me. I try to give like evidence-based medicine updates and try to filter the information out for people, because again, it's like the fake news Olympics, and I can't keep up with all the bullshit. So anything that you see on my page, it's been appropriately vetted and believable. So like, I posted about possible immunity to the virus today. And so that's something that's still a question. So yeah, follow me on social media. And my big recommendation to people is always vet your information. Period.
All right, King. Thank you for coming by.
All right.
Thank you for coming.
All right, have a good night.
It's been great.
Anytime.
All right, man.